So how many Brits don't want internet access? The answer is a staggering 8 million.
And welcome back. You're watching The Right Stuff. Thank you for that. We're live on 5 with Gail Porter, Steve First, and our special guest author, Imogen Edwards-Jones. Still to come this morning, put your baby bump away. Do heavily pregnant women bearing their bellies have any idea how upsetting some of us find it? Not just me. Should they be forced to cover up, wear a tent, maybe one of Fern Britton's old dresses? 0207 173. Old dresses. 0207 173. What, are you just going to chuck them away? 0207 173 5555. That's the number to call. But first, in fact, no, before that, actually, musical condoms. Thanks to Paul Beazle, songs they could play. How about O Come All Ye Faithful? And Mike from Bristol suggested Knocking on Heaven's Door. Keep them coming. You're all right, girl.
No.
You're going to have to do this one first. Your thoughts on the government's latest stealth tax, a £6 levy on every landline in the country until 2017 to pay for broadband to be rolled out to every home in the country, regardless of whether householders want it or not. Gordon Brown has said that speedy internet access is as essential as electricity, gas and water. But some 8 million people don't agree. Indeed, the vast majority of them, according to a study last week, wouldn't want broadband if you gave it to them free and threw in a free computer. The plan to give every householder a minimum connection of 2 megabits a second by 2012 and 90% of the country access to superfast 40 megabits broadband is going to cost more than £1 billion. But I wonder if we're throwing good money after bad, forcing people to have something they don't want. I mean, these Luddites, they could cancel their landline subscription, use a mobile phone instead, and duck out of paying a penny towards their own connection. And there are other criticisms as well. Some fear the cost of the scheme could spiral out of control, as it did with the Dome and now with the 2012 Games. Others worry that new technology could soon make all these cables redundant. What then? Another tax? Now, if you lived in the sticks and you want internet, but your neighbour doesn't, is it fair that they should be forced to fund your addiction to online porn? Access to the World Wide Web. A French court has just ruled that access to the World Wide Web is a fundamental human right, by the way. But the question, Gail, and you're a Twitterer, so I'm going to assume you're hip to the groove with the technology.
Hip to the groove.
I mean, who should pay? Who should pay? Everybody?
I don't want to pay for everybody's internet. Hi, Twitterers, by the way. I don't want to pay for everybody's. I mean, one of the arguments, he said, it's only 50 pence a month, you know, that we had to... But you're just getting taxed for everything.
It's £42 each. Over every person with a phone line will have to pay, in essence, nearly 50 quid.
But not everyone, like you say, not everyone's going to want it, not everyone's going to use it.
8 million people don't want it.
Well, exactly, so I don't want to pay for it. So if I want my own internet, I deal with my own things, you know, I would deal with my own internet.
To be fair, you live in the heart of one of the great capital city. I've got a friend down in Cornwall, and he's gagging for it. I mean, he's desperate for it. Can't get it.
Why does he want it?
Because he's only got 3 magazines, and now he can... There's a world of opportunity and variety out there.
He was going,
it's business.
Google.
It's business, but then, you know...
So is it actually affecting businesses in the countryside?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I mean, and if you want people to move away from the cities, which is one of the ideas out there, to sort of, you know, you don't have to travel and commute into towns, we could all work at home. Yeah. This is a tool that would enable that.
Well, not just that. I think that people are banking online now. More and more services are going online.
There is a sweet little advert which shows the bank coming to you in a bus, which I saw last night.
I don't want them visiting me.
I don't want them going in a bus.
No.
But there are also things like rail tickets and all those things, which is much cheaper online and all that sort of stuff. But what seems to be weird about it is the randomness of it. There's the government seems to do this, the idea that they suddenly pluck an idea out of nowhere and say, like 50% of students have to go to university. That's it's sort of one of these weird Labour targets that they suddenly decide that... And it doesn't really seem to make sense to me.
Except, I suppose, that if we accept that not all of the 8 million Luddites that don't want it are old people, for example, who may feel it's not within them. But if we assume that eventually people are all going to move house and the next family to move into the house might want broadband internet, if we're going to lay the cables down, it makes sense to lay the cables down everywhere rather than just to the people that that choose to do it.
But surely the telecom companies have made a fortune out of us in various stages of...
Well, yeah, I mean, don't be under any illusions here. This is the paying for the cable.
Yes.
If you then use the internet, you'll be paying a monthly fee on top.
Of course. Yeah. So why should we... I mean, they fleece us at every stage, these telecom companies. Well, surely they've got enough money to actually lay the cable themselves and make the money out of it as they do.
So no one here feels that this is fair?
I don't think it's grossly unfair. I think the price of line rental and so forth has come down so massively in the last few years, and in terms of broadband prices have come down unbelievably. Yeah. That I think that it's an look, I think people should be consulted about it, but I don't think it's a ridiculous idea. I think it's one of those things that does benefit the country as a whole. You're not telling people to have broadband. You're not saying what's going past your house.
You are, in essence,
so
you are saying you have to pay. You have to pay for it whether you want it or not.
You have to pay for the community to have access to it. And
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's like me paying for children to go to school, me paying for children to have their birth bonanza cash. Me paying for pregnant women to have nice
There's a lot we pay for that perhaps there are people don't want to pay for. So I don't think that necessarily £6 a year as part of a tax is, you know...
Just more and more and more, that's the thing.
That's the problem.
Suck it up, lady. Suck it up, lady.
OK.
It's the world we live in.
Let's throw it open to you. Are we for or against charging everybody with a landline £6 per year for the next 7 to provide broadband everywhere in the country? Let's hear what you've got to say. Kirsty.
We have Eileen on line 1.
Morning, Eileen.
Oh, hi, Matthew. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Obviously about to become a lot poorer, as you are. You got a problem with that?
Well, I'm totally against paying £6 a year. It could be best spent on cancer drugs, teaching, NHS, etc. Quite happy to pay extra for that, but there's so many methods of getting an internet access, like the library, mobile phones, etc. And if anyone should be paying for an investment, it should be the internet providers. They're making enough money from us anyway.
Do you have broadband where you live, Eileen?
I do, but I paid for it myself to get fitted, and I'm certainly not going to pay for it for anybody else.
Do you have any sympathy for my friend down in Cornwall who lives in the middle of nowhere? It's a beautiful house. He chose to leave London to go and live there. When he got there, he finds you can't have cable internet. You can do it through satellite, of course.
I've got every sympathy, but as I say, I don't think it should be us that are paying. I think we could be spending £6 a year on helping people who actually, are in poor health, etc., or education. Tell them, obviously, we're training to be a teacher and stuff. But the thing is, I really think that the BT are earning enough. They're making millions from us. It's an investment for them because they'll have the line rentals, as somebody was saying before, to get back and make their money back. And
50p a month, Arlene. 50p a month is what we're talking about.
I know, but I still really feel that 50p a month could go towards...
OK. Are you making that very clear? Thank you. There's another.
On line 2, we have Samantha.
Samantha, good morning.
Morning.
So, is this fair?
No, I don't think it is. I don't see why I should have to pay for somebody else to have internet access. I think it's utterly ridiculous.
But we live in a society, Samantha, don't we? I mean, I might not use lots of electricity, but part of the money I pay for my electricity goes to provide the pylons along which electricity gets supplied to your house. You use lots more than me, and yet I'm paying an equal share of those pylons. Well, you use more than me, I'm not going to pay so much. The pylons fall down and you don't get any electricity. How am I doing? That's a pretty good metaphor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you may have a point, but I just don't see, we pay our council tax, that pays for libraries to have internet access. If someone's desperate for internet, they can go to their library, their community centre, internet cafes. There's lots of places where you can get access to internet without it being plugged into your home.
OK.
My grandparents have a landline, but they don't want internet. They have no need for it.
But this is the point, though, Samantha, is there will come a time, and I hope it's a long time away, that either your grandparents will pass on or they will move on, and that house will then be taken over by somebody else who may want the internet, and they don't have the internet because your grandparents didn't like the idea.
Well, yeah, but then that's up to them. That's their home to change, and to make it their own home, obviously, the new family that moves in.
But they can't dig up the road, and if we're going to have a system where they roll... Well, they probably could dig up the road, actually, but if we're going to have a system where we roll it all out, is 50p a month really... I mean, I feel like I'm doing the government's work here. I mean, OK, you don't want to pay it, fine. Well, let's leave it there. Thank you. Let's have another.
Andrew, and he's on line 3.
OK, Andrew, good morning.
Well, I'm afraid if you're looking for something different, I'm afraid I'm exactly the same as the others. You know,
OK, I'm
broadband,
surprised.
I paid for it.
That is true. Do you have any sympathy at all for the media companies, the broadband firms that are struggling to get cable to the more extreme reaches of the country, and that in order to facilitate it so that everybody in the country has a fair access to the internet, it requires everybody in the country to pay?
No, I don't. Sorry. They made a perishing fortune out of us when the going was good.
That is
Let
true.
them pay a bit of it back.
OK. I'll be honest, when we started this discussion, I thought I'm on a real loser here. No one will object to paying 50p a month to have high-speed broadband.
It does depend how you phrase it and how you put it. I mean, I think that people assume that it's up to the media companies to dig up the road and put the cable down.
It costs money.
No, that costs money, but it's not up to those companies to do it. It is up to a government and an infrastructure to actually lay the cables in order for them to do their job and reduce the price of broadband. Maybe it will be reduced more than £6 a month as a result of it being subsidised to have the cables laid.
Kirsty whispered in my ear, every single call we had is against, which I'm surprised by. And one other thing, just before the break, the latest unemployment figures, highest now since 1997, 2.26 million and rising. After the break, cheery news, isn't it? After the break, put your baby bump away. When I was a child, I don't remember seeing heavily pregnant women wandering about on the beach in bikinis. So why are you doing it now? Haven't you got a bedroom to go and lie down in? And it's not just me who finds the sight of swollen women in crop tops and low-slung jeans a tad tasteless. Other women do too. I've been speaking to them. So what do you say? Should you put your bumps away? The big belly bumps. 0207 173 5555 is the number for your thoughts, and we'll hear as many as we can on the other side of the ads.
Who posed naked for a magazine while heavily pregnant? Heidi Klum, Demi Moore or Britney Spears? Find out the answer after the ads.